What's going on, people? This is Gene Jensen. It's time for another Friday Night Live. We'll kind of hang out a little bit, let some people get on. I got a few good announcements tonight, so mainly Black Friday announcements. So I'm pretty excited about them. But I didn't make any announcements about this on social media, so it should take a little bit longer than normal for people to jump on. But it shouldn't be too bad. But how's everybody doing today? Tanner, you're a little early. Just got cranking. Jack, how's it going, man? My goodness. I hope nobody tried to kill anybody during Black Friday sales today. I don't go shopping on days like today because I want to strangle people. But not today. What's up, Joni? Napoleon, good grief, you guys are busting out. Joshua Colville, been watching your stuff. Can't wait to save up to get a 13 fishing 6.5 heavy. That's awesome, man. That is a great rod. I have 3 of them. Actually, one of them is one of the prototypes, so it's not quite up to standard, but it's not a bad one either. So DA Farms, do you love Jesus? Yes, I do. What's up, Greensboro, from Greensboro, North Carolina? That's what I'm talking about. Corey, what's going on? Did I eat good yesterday? I had dinner at my mama's house yesterday. So we ate fairly good, and then I had dinner at my in-laws' house just about an hour and a half ago. I smoked a turkey, I fried a turkey, and then while they were eating, I fried another turkey for me to bring home. And so, and I probably should have smoked that one instead, but I didn't feel like cooking tomorrow. So, yeah, I had some good food. I did stay pretty much in my diet. I did try a little bit of a dessert tonight, but it shouldn't hurt my diet too much because I didn't pig out on it. So hey, there's somebody from Ludowici, Florida. Awesome. What's going on, man? Let's see. When am I going to do videos on more bank fishing stuff? It will probably be in the spring, but that's something I really want to do this next year. I got a whole bunch of stuff to catch up on. Yeah, a lot of changes going on this next year, but nothing bad. All good changes. But let's go through some of the, since we got 100 people on already, let's go ahead and jump in and get some of the business done about some Black Friday sales that are going on. First of all, there's one going on my website, Flukemastr.com. It is a Black Friday sale. Pretty simple. You buy a $50 gift card for $40. So buy somebody a big gift card. Like me, I'll buy myself a gift card. But $50 gift card for $40. So you get $10 off, which is really, really cool. Westbrook Supply Company, where you guys have seen me do a couple of my Friday Night Lives. It's a kayak store in downtown Atlanta. They're having a Black Saturday sale tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Everything in the store is 10 to 20% off. That includes kayaks. So, and they sell Bonafide. They sell a bunch of other different types of kayaks. They sell Yak Attack gear. Bunch of different things. It's a really good store. Let's see if we can get through all of that stuff. Let's see. Oh, my app. You guys don't know this. Actually, I'm getting an app put together. It should be done here in the next few days for both Apple and Android. And members of my website, guys who go and create a profile on Flukemastr.com, will be some of the first ones to access the app. And then one more thing, the winner of the weekly giveaway is basically we give a $25 gift card every way. Let me try that again. We give a $25 gift card away to one person every week who is a member of Flukemastr.com. Doesn't cost you anything. You just go and create a profile. But the winner this week is Glenn McKenzie from Spartanburg, North Carolina. You win $25 gift card. And then last but not least, this is really important for those of you who have bought Bonafides in the past, a lot of the Bonafide owners, and I'm about to make a really detailed video about this, but go to their website and register your kayak for their warranty program. That way, if you have a kayak whose serial number falls under the new what they call it, the seat upgrade, where the old seat rubbed into the boat when you were in the low position. They fix that and create an upgrade, but they can't send it to you until you register your boat for the warranty. They'll just mail it to you. All you gotta do is just register and they'll mail it to you. That way that gets taken care of and you go ahead and install it on your boat. And it's really, really simple, but I'm still going to make a video about it. And then Chad Hoover also created a video just the day before yesterday or yesterday about it. So if you're wondering, just go to his YouTube channel. Chad Hoover is what it's called now. It used to be Kayak Bass Fishing or Kayak Bassing TV. And that is what I have. That's all the announcements. Yay, I got through with them. But pretty cool. Like I said, on Flukemastr.com, you can get for a Black Friday sale, and I think we're going to run this the next few days. You can buy a $50 gift card for 40 bucks. So, and then you can turn around and go and get 13 rods and reels and whatever other stuff I have on there, and a lot of my Flukemastr stuff. I'd like to thank Angler for being around. We had a good time. If you guys saw my thumbnail of this, that was a trip I made with Jacob from Angler, the app that I've been talking about every week, and he caught his personal best on a fluke fishing with a Flukemastr. So it was pretty cool. It was a 5 pound. It was at 5.41 pounds, if I believe. So pretty freaking cool. Trying to think of anything else. I think that's it. So anyway, so yeah, what was I doing this last week? Is I was learning more about what I'm going to be doing with the Angler app, so you guys can go in and check out my profile. Go follow me on the Angler app. That way you can see my fishing trips that I make public. You'll be able to read my notes and see how the fishing went and kind of learn and glean some information from that until I really get to know what I'm supposed to do. It's not a complicated app for you guys. It's going to be just a change in the way I do things to me, so I can share all that stuff. So pretty cool. All the information and stuff that I learn online or learn while I'm out fishing. You can follow my fishing trips. You can see my spots. I mark GPS points. I mark honey holes. I mark a whole bunch of stuff on there. So what's up, John? Crank it up. Look at that sign. So John Crank It Up is the guy who painted that picture of me right there. So I know there's a glare on it from my lights, but pretty cool. Glad you joined me, man. Let's jump on some question and answers. We're going to talk a little bit about winter fishing right now because we didn't really have a fall fishing this year. Lasted about a week and a half, and then water temperatures tanked. So we're going to, let's see. What's my favorite type of fish? I love to catch bass. That's my favorite thing to teach. I really don't have a favorite type of fish that I really would love to go catch. I love catching redfish, and that's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know what my favorite type of fish is. I just love to fish. Thomas Husky just ordered a 15-foot surf casting rod. Holy cow. That's one thing I've never done very much of is surf casting. I did it once with Blacktip H, caught a tiger shark from the beach, but that was it. So, what does the Japanese at the bottom of the description say? That actually says fishing is what it is. It's in Japanese. I just always put that in there just because I thought it was cool. Jack Levito. Man, it says my lake is icing over right now. I'm sorry, dude. We don't have to deal with that down here. When we winterize our boats, it's just when we get done fishing during the day, we drop the lower unit so the water drains out, and then jack it back up so we can put it in the lake the next day and it doesn't freeze overnight. I can't stop backlashing on overhand casts. Then start doing sidearm and a little bit off to the side. Overhand casts are real easy to backlash. They're probably the easiest ones. So kind of go off to an angle just a little bit and cast that way instead of straight over your head. And as you get better, you'll be able to go, further and further up over your head. So, hey Fluke, can you flip braid to fluoro? Can you flip braid to fluoro? You can with an FG knot. It's well, I guess you could. Just depends on where your knot is. You could even do it with an Albright or a Berto knot or something like that. You just get a little bit more friction through the guides. The other thing I'd worry about is, knot failure. John, man, thanks for the $5, man. You didn't have to do that. But knot failure would be the biggest thing I worried about. And if I'm flipping into heavy cover, and you really don't see a need for fluorocarbon, I'd go straight braid. If I'm pitching and just pitching around in some super clear water, then I might consider it. But usually on a short cast like that, I'm fishing water where I could get away with 100% braid. So, Joni, how do you rig in the Fluke? Just normal. A 5/0, actually a 5/0 offset round bend or an EWG would do good. It was more cadence that day than it was anything, how fast we were working it. I'm going to work on the video this week that I shot. It actually explains exactly how we were doing it and how just speeding it up made all the difference. So, Ricardo Ponce, what happened to my videos? I've actually been taking somewhat of a break, not on purpose, but mainly getting stuff. October, November is when sponsorships change over or contracts get re-signed, and it's just the business side of the deal. And it's not really busy on the fishing side of YouTube anyway, so I can get away with it. But I do have 3 videos in the till. I had one that I was going to launch this last week, but looked at it, and it was missing a lot of footage that I shot. So I sent it back to my editor, and he's basically doing it all over again. And it's going to go from like a 4-minute video to a 20 to 30-minute video because it's a really good video. And then after that, I just have to go fishing and stop traveling. So that's one of the things going to change this next year is I'm going to, if I'm traveling, I'm going to travel to go fishing and create content, not travel for sponsors to go do sponsor stuff. That gets away from me. I did that way too much this year. I put almost 50,000 miles on my truck, and only a few of them were for me. So yeah, that's going to stop really, really quick. Let's see, what's my favorite color Fluke? Actually, my favorite one is white ice. I was using their new color. I think it's called Sexy Shad or something like that. It's got little fluorescent, shiny fluorescent flake in it. It's basically a white ice with different colored flake. What do I throw tomorrow? Warm temps during the day, cold front moving in. Woo! Depends on when that cold front moves in, but I would be throwing, and I don't know anything about your lake. I don't know anything about hardly anything like that, but literally this time of the year I'm throwing spinner baits and chatter baits and lipless crankbaits. Depends on the water temperature though. Jerk baits is always a good option. Sheldon Kirby, thanks for the $10, man. You're awesome. You really didn't have to do that, but it really does help. Do you still like to use ducket rods? And if so, which one's your favorite one? I don't use duckets anymore. I'm sponsored by 13. I haven't used them since, 3 years now? It sold all but I think 2 of them because those are up in the, I loaned those out. But nothing wrong with them. 13 offered me a good sponsorship. I really love their rods. They're good quality, good deal. So yeah, that's why I don't use duckets anymore. It's not a bad thing. J Todd, what's the best lure for winter? I caught some on moving baits, cold fish, few and far between. All of a sudden, I'm 5 months in my bass career, so I'm not seasoned. So now what? Just think fish slower, and you got to understand the bait fish are getting a little slow too. So you want to kind of fish a little bit slower as the water temperature gets below 50 degrees. Jerk baits are really good, and dragging a jig on the bottom. Crawfish get fairly active in the wintertime, a lot more active than most bait fish. So I usually stick, once the water temperature gets below 50, I usually stick with a crawfish and a jerk bait most of the time. So, especially when that water temperature gets in the 40s. Let's see. Have you ever used a double fluke rig? Yes, I have many times. I've got an old, ancient video on the double fluke rig. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it still exists. It's so old. One of my very first ones, but I love that rig. What's my favorite color of soft plastic? Green pumpkin is what I usually go to first. You really helped me out a lot, Flukemastr. Thanks, Gabriel. Appreciate it, man. Have you ever caught a fish on a Huddleston? I've caught a few. I don't throw big swim baits much, but that's something I really want to. I worked hard to learn a lot about it this year, and this next year I want to keep learning until I feel confident enough to make a video about it. Kevin Van Dam, I know it's not the real Kevin Van Dam because your icon or your avatar or whatever you call it, your little screenshot is a Lose, and he's not sponsored by Lose. Hey Fluke, what are your favorite winter baits? I like a football jig and an underspin and a drop shot. You know, underspin's not bad either. It's one of the things I used in super clear water. Never used a drop shot in the wintertime, but I imagine it worked pretty good. So what's a good ratio for square bills? I like 7-3 to 1 is my favorite ratio for square bills because I tend to fish them a little fast. But as the winter gets on, if you have trouble slowing down, then get a 6 to 1 or a 5-3 to 1. But I don't see any need to do that. Just slow down. Is there any secrets to fishing spinner baits? Can't catch many on them. I guess my biggest, I wouldn't call it a secret, but my biggest thing is fish them out of sight. Just to where the bait gets out of sight, you don't see it anymore, is where I catch most of my fish with a spinner bait when I'm trying to gain confidence in it. Now that I have confidence in them, I'll fish them deep, I'll fish them shallow, I'll jerk them off the bottom. I've got a video that I shot about 4 years ago on spinner baits. It covers like 7 different ways to fish it, and I've heard in stories of people catching big ones on every different way, including dragging it on the bottom without spinning the baits or the blades. So, let's see. How does rain wind affect winter bass? I don't know. I guess rain would affect it more than wind. The biggest thing is that if it's a warm rain, or if it rains on a sunny day, and the rain is coming off of like concrete and asphalt and going down a ditch and running into the lake, a lot of times it'll be warm right there and the bass will flock to that spot. So any water running into the lake would be really good. If the rain's warm, it'll warm the surface temperature up. Wind, really, I don't think it would have much of an effect because it won't push anything around very much because there's no plankton in the water. So there's, nothing to push the plankton into the pockets and stuff where the bait fish follow and the bass follow. That happens in the summertime. But in the wintertime, I don't think wind really affects it too much. So at least that's my opinion. What lake are you most excited to fish next year? I want to go back down to Florida early January. This is the next basically trip for me that I want to go on. Late January, go back down to Fellsmere, Florida, to fish Lake Fellsmere. And around in that area, I want to spend a couple of weeks down there because that's where I caught those big ones last year, and get a 10 where I can actually have a scale and put it on I caught it what I swear is a 10 last year, and I didn't have a scale, so I'm not sure. So I really want to go down there and try it again. So cod fishing 180, man. I'm glad you're here from Australia. Let's see, Lugo, 2 sizes of hooks for drop shot and 2 sizes of weights. I use a 1/4 ounce weight almost 100% of the time, unless I'm fishing really deep and I need to get the bait down there fast. I'll use a 1/2 ounce, and then or 3/8 really. But the size hook, I almost always, if it's a standard drop shot hook, use either a 1/0 or a number 1. So, do I like 12-inch worms? Yes, in the summertime. Are the MEPS musky spinners good? I have no clue, bro. Tons of people around me say they like throwing them in the fall. I imagine so. I mean, bass will hit anything, especially big baits. Thoughts on a spy bait? It is a really good bait. The only time I really use one is when the fish are schooling. I know I don't fish it the way that was traditionally meant for. But when fish are schooling and when I'm fishing for like spotted bass at Lake Lanier, it's really good to just run it like 1 inch or 2 under the surface, especially on blueback herring lakes, and the bass absolutely crush it. So where does the plankton go during the winter? Most of them die off, is what happens to them. So water temperature just gets too cold. Let's see. JR Fishing, yes, dragging a spinnerbait. Trust me, dude. Let's see. Richard Deering says I started watching your older videos to get into fishing. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to start rolling those out again. I don't know why I got away from them so much this year. I did struggle with depression most of the year. That is being handled a little bit. But the biggest thing is I just want to crank out as many beginner videos as I possibly can. And stop listening to the naysayers. Not to stop listening to the guys who have a bunch of negative comments. That's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest reason why I haven't responded to a lot of questions on YouTube. Is I get to the point where I'm just tired of reading the bad stuff, and you got to sift through it to find the good stuff. But you know, I just got to get to the point where I just don't give a living crap. But I do care. I love this. I love doing it. I just get bummed out. Where does the plankton go? Oh, I already read that question. Sorry. Thoughts on a Ned rig? Got hooked on the jig bite and wondering if downsizing this winter is worth it. Shoot, yeah, dude. I love the Ned rig. I've never fished it in the wintertime, but I guarantee I will this year. Mark Cantrell, love the angler video, and my wife is getting me a button for early Christmas. Can't wait to try it out. Good, man. Biggest thing is learn that app. Learn to mess around with it, play with it, and understand there's going to be a lot of really cool changes coming up here in the very, very near future, and you'll be able to follow me on it too, which is cool. Zachary, thanks for the $5, man. He asked when the chatter crank rod is coming out. Early spring, so my guess is May, June, maybe April. But yeah, dude, that's a freaking sick rod. I was totally surprised at how good that rod was. I didn't think it was going to be a really good chatterbait rod until I took it out and started fishing with it. That's pretty good. Got a tournament December 8th. Any advice? Figure out a plan and stick to your plan. Always stick to your plan. And number 2 is don't leave fish to go find more fish. Those are the 2 that I'll always give. I'm actually hoping to be able to fish a few KBF tournaments this year. Kayak bass fishing is getting huge. The payouts are huge, and it's just a fun way to fish tournaments. And I really want to get into it and video it for you guys. I know I won't be able to fish them all. I'm actually going to be officiating in a few of them. I kind of got voluntold today. So, but yeah, if you guys aren't members of Kayak Bass Fishing, jump in, dude, and go fish some tournaments. It's a blast, and the people are just awesome. Hello, Gene, Matt, and at Bankhead Lake and Black Warrior River. That's awesome, man. What are some good tips for fishing Guntersville Lake in the spring? Depends on what time of the spring, but the biggest thing is fish the mouths of those major pockets up on the north end of the lake. Trying to think of anything else. They love a dang lipless crankbait on Guntersville that time of year. Ever thought of doing underwater footage with your videos? I have, but I typically fish lakes that aren't super clear. I don't have a lot of clear lakes. I have to go like 2.5 hours away, 3 hours away to get a clear lake where underwater would be good. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge. Sawyer fishing. You never talk about ice fishing. Do you ice fish? I have ice fished once for 4 days or 3 days at Lake of the Woods for a 13 fishing media event, and I was sitting in a wooden box staring at a toilet hole for 2 days, and I just about lost my mind. I don't drink, never have, and so I can understand why everybody gets tore up drunk up there when they're ice fishing, because it's boring. But the third day we jumped on jet skis. We jumped on snowmobiles and took off and went into Canada, got permission to go into Canada, and we went hunting for fish, and we caught a ton of them and had a blast. I love the hunt, and so that was the biggest thing. So what's your favorite color spinnerbait? I love what is it? It's a glimmer blue with actually a glimmer blue chartreuse. So it's white and chartreuse basically. Scored your frog rod and a Concept Z early birthday gift. That's awesome, Scott. Man, you're gonna love that thing. When fishing over 55 years, been fishing over 55 years, and I still watch beginner videos because I'm still learning. That's true. What I used to do is I would go back and read articles about beginner fishing every single winter, just to make sure I wasn't forgetting the basics. I did that when I played sports. I played top level soccer growing when I was in high school and on into 19, 20, 21 years old, and always spent a lot of time practicing focusing on the basics so I didn't lose that edge. And same thing goes for bass fishing. If you guys just annually just brush up on the beginner stuff, you'll be amazed how it'll help you. Let's see. Sandhill guitar, voluntold. Yes, I got voluntold by Chad Hoover. He said, dude, you're going to officiate some stuff this year. I'm like, okay. So that means I got to learn how to do it so I don't screw things up. Let's see. What are some of your favorite accessories for your SS127? My favorite ones are not out yet. They are basically camera stands is one of the things that they're working on. So it's every time I talk to John over at Yak Attack, I give him a hard time about not having them yet because that's what I do. But you know, my favorite one has got to be the Black Pack. I love the Black Pack. I have to modify it a little bit to be able to fit my big boxes because I have the big Bass Mafia boxes. But yeah, I love the Black Pack. I got a new flag. You know, you get your little safety flag that you put up. The little what do they call it? The carbon. Anyway, the Visit Carbon Pro is what they call it. But I got the American flag to go on it, and it looks freaking sick. I can't wait for you guys to see some of the pictures we took in Louisiana with me with that flag on. So, let's see. Opinion on Berkeley rods. You know, I haven't used them in a few years, but I really liked the Veritas that I had. I know that there were some guys having issues with breakages, but I never broke the one. I ended up giving it away to a high school kid that needed it more than I did. But yeah, I mean they're not bad rods. They're pretty inexpensive. They're to be honest with you, they're not as good a deal as a 13. Even if I wasn't sponsored by 13, I'd tell you that 13 rods are the quality of them is better at $100 than most other rods on the market. But that's why I'm sponsored by them because I really do believe that. Gene, are you using custom mapping? I'm not. I actually am using a company called C-Maps on my GPS, and then on my phone and stuff, I use Navionics web app when I'm doing a lot of research. So. Sawyer Fishing, are you associated with Bass Resource? Not anymore. Long story short, I got too busy to be a sponsor there, or be a sponsor, be a, what was I? I was a moderator on their website for 10 years. I got too busy with my YouTube stuff, so I had to quit. And then all of a sudden, the owner banned me for some reason, and I won't speak any further than that, but that's kind of how it went. Just got a concept, see which rod should I buy for it. Depends on what you want to fish. If you've never fished I don't know. It just all depends. Depends on what you want to fish. I don't want to give you a suggestion, not knowing what you're looking for. As a beginner, how do I learn? What do I watch? What's good material to read other than your page? There's a couple of them. Tactical Bassing he gets into some great detail. Matter of fact, I think he makes better videos than I do. Is good. Alex Rudd Fishing is good. He does some really good instructionals. A good regional guy for up north is Ben Nowak. And then good stuff to read. Oh gosh, where Bass University. It's a pay to play website, but Bass U has got tons of good articles and tons of good videos made by the pros. On lots of different subjects. A lot of times I use that for research for my own videos. So, what do you think about favorite rods, and have you ever used them? I have not used them. I've messed around with them in the stores, and I think that they are the ones that I've felt were pretty heavy for the actions. So that's kind of how I left it. Have you ever fished Seed Lake up in North Georgia? I have not. What brand of hooks do you like the best? I actually have a mixture of Gamakatsu and Mustad. I love Mustad Ultra Point hooks. The grip pins are some of my favorite, but Gamakatsu makes some really good hooks, and they're coming out with some new ones this next year that I got to mess around with over the last 3 or 4 months that I really love. And maybe I'll get a video together about hooks and things like that. I'm not dead set on one brand. Each of them has their own little deal. I have found some bad brands though out there, so that might be something I put together, the good and bad of hooks. My biggest pet peeve is a hook that the tip bends out on a hook set. I've lost a lot of fish to freaking jacked up hooks that when you set the hook, the hook is so sharp on that tip that the tip bends out and it no longer, you know, it's basically it's good for one fish. Mark Cantrell, have you tried the 13 Fishing Archangel? Wondering if it's almost the same price as my boat. Why it is. It is a Japanese domestic product, as far as I know. It's the one that they sell most of those Archangels in Japan. I've never tried one out, never even wanted to. They were way out of my price zone, way out of the price zone of any of the guys that watch my videos, I think. So it's not something I really wanted to try. They're beautiful rods. They're super lightweight. They're great actions. But yeah, you're right. They are pretty expensive, but they are mostly sold in Japan. But they are high-end everything. That's what I love. Another thing I like about 13 is their owner lets their designers build the best of the best, and then they go try to find somebody to buy them. So let's see. What CMAPS card do you use? I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to look, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a brand new updated one. I do know that. Funny thing is one of the guys that is running the marketing deal for CMAPS. Back when he was in college, I helped him with some information on a tournament on Clark's Hill. This was 5 or 6 years ago, and so now he works for CMAPS. And what goes around comes around. I mean, I think they finished like 3rd or 4th in the tournament, and they qualified for the national championship. So he basically gave me a new updated CMAPS card that I don't think is available yet. I have to look. But what flies do you recommend for bass in the lily pads, dude? I really, years ago I used to fish for bass with a fly rod, and I really love to use streamers. Just about everywhere. And I had streamers that had a little monofilament weed guard to keep them getting hung up. So, any collabs with informative fishermen on the radar? Not on the radar, but me and him are good friends, and we're going to have a nice little chat about that. Figure it out. I've got a YouTube channel. I just got to start making videos, so I'm making more money. That's the biggest. And now it's just a numbers game. I got to make more videos and bring in more cash, and then I'm able to travel more. But it's really not my priority. Is the biggest thing. Is my priority is just making videos to teach you guys. But you know, it is what it is. Let's see. When are you going to fish Clear Lake? I'm not sure. I have to talk to them again. That kind of fell through this fall. Who got me into fishing? That would be my father did, and he got me into fishing, into bass fishing. Basically, the internet kind of did, but my best friend introduced me to bass, and I love it. So I've had the same best friend since my junior year of high school, since we beat each other up and went and became best friends after that. That's back when you could fight and not get in too much trouble, not go to jail. What am I asking Santa Bass for Christmas? I'm actually not asking for anything for fishing. I want a really, really good knife sharpening set is what I want. I've got a bunch of dull knives. I have an old set that I've pretty much worn out, but I really want I want an electric knife sharpener for my kitchen knives, and I want a really good knife sharpener for my work knives. So let's see. Thoughts on Trapper Tackle treble hooks. I have not tested them out. I actually have some sitting right there on the shelf over there. I haven't put them on baits yet. So I haven't gotten into that. Let's see. What happened with Lucky Tackle Box? Nothing. I actually am going to try to film a Lucky Tackle Box video tomorrow. That's the first day I've been able to. I didn't get the box until like the 13th this month. So then, of course, holidays happen. But tomorrow I'm going to try. If not tomorrow, then Monday after the kids go back to school. What's my thoughts on Garmin Live Scope? I have not looked hard at it yet, so I really haven't got an opinion. Alternative lines for the A-rig besides braid. I would never use a braid on A-rig. I always would use 20 to 25 pound fluorocarbon. Mainly so it can handle the shock of a backlash if you're throwing a big heavy A-rig. I always use fluorocarbon. So... most confident redfish lure. It's called Bugs Jigs. Is probably my most confident one, and I do a lot of sight fishing, and it also works really good under a popping cork. So I'm sorry, guys. This chair, and I'm gonna say it every single line. This chair is so uncomfortable. Oh, anybody want an office chair that needs a lumbar support? you can come and get this one. Let's see, because I don't need lumbar support. Happy Thanksgiving, go Dogs. Thanks, Walton. Man, I tell you, if the Dogs lose tomorrow to Georgia Tech, I may become a Bama fan. Gosh almighty, they better not lose. 13 rods are not easy to get your hands on. Sometimes they are, sometimes they ain't. It just depends. You can try my website. You can try Tackle Warehouse. Yeah, they're pretty high in demand. Let's see. You should get those diamond knife sharpeners because they will not get worn out. I know, but I'm kind of really picky about my knife sharpeners. I like a whetstone. Matter of fact, I love a whetstone. I've been sharpening knives since as long as I can remember. And then there's an electric one that you get that's like $150, $175. You get for kitchen knives. It does an amazing job on those high-end knives, and I have a few of those that I've collected over my marriage. I've been married almost 20 years, so yeah, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, I'll find a good deal on one of those high-end kitchen knives, and I'll buy one or two of them. So, Tyler's Real Fishing. What's up, Tyler? Don't fool yourself. You need lumbar support. Actually, no, I'm lordotic, so I don't need lumbar support. I need just the opposite. You forget, I shot X-rays for 19 years. If you're willing to pay the price, look into the Wicked Edge knife sharpening system. I know exactly the one you're talking about. That's the one I'm looking for all my work and hunt knives. So I collect knives. Most people don't know that. I love hand-forged knives. And so, matter of fact, I bet I left that one at my sister-in-law's today. I'll have to go get it tomorrow. But I just got a new one that's a beautiful knife that I use to cut up the turkeys. Have you ever tried live target swim baits? If so, how big of fish? Live targets. I don't think I've fished live target. I have some, what's the name of that company? Savage Gear. I use several of their weight baits and swim baits, but I've never tried live target swim baits. So, what is the best place to fish in Dallas for a beginner? I'm not sure, dude. I don't know if that's Dallas, Georgia, or Dallas, Texas. Chef's Choice 3-stage electric. That's the one I'm looking at, Rod. The Chef's Choice 3-stage is the one I'm looking at. Mainly so my wife can use it, but yeah, it does an outstanding job of sharpening. Let's see. Did you go to Georgia for college? I did not. I went to the Academy of Health Sciences in the United States Army and studied radiology, and I also stayed to be a field medic, and that's where I went to school. But I used to milk cows in Bishop, which is just south of Athens, and I literally spent every extra minute hanging out in Athens and going to the varsity and eating and just having a good old time. So, yeah, Tyler can help you with Texas, Norman. What's the best secret on landing big saltwater fish, flounders, and redfish? Take your time. I love to catch big saltwater fish in a kayak, and the biggest thing that I have to tell myself is there's really not a lot of stuff to get hung on. Just take your time, and let that fish play out, and let it do what it wants to do, and just have your drag set right, and you're just fine. So, what is the best bank fishing line? Basically, whatever line you got confidence in, really. There's not a specific bank fishing line. There's fishing line, and then there's fishing line. But I don't know. It all depends on what you're doing. I wouldn't get too deep into it. Back when I bank fished, it was 15-pound monofilament or 12-pound monofilament the whole time. Something that I could break if it got hung up. So, oh gosh, sorry guys. I've been cooking all day. How do you fish beaver craws? Basically, I mainly Texas rig and flip beaver style baits. Texas rigging, punching, that kind of stuff is probably where they work the best. Good brands for lipless crankbaits. I use several different brands. If I'm just kind of working it as an average speed and working it through grass and stuff like that, the Bill Lewis rattle trap is great. It does not burn very well. If I need to burn a bait, it's going to be the Spro Ruku Shad, because it doesn't turn on its side when it's being burnt or reeled fast. When I say burning, I mean reeling it fast. It also yo-yos very well. The Profound Outdoors lipless crankbait is really good when you're yo-yoing it because it flutters down on a horizontal line instead of vertical. So is the red eye shad, does the same thing except it has more of a flutter. Red eye shad is good for ripping through grass. It does not burn very well. So it just depends. They all have their own positives and negatives. The what is it? The One Knocker. I think Booyah makes it now. Is another one. So those are the 5 different ones that I have. And like I said, they all have their own little pluses and minuses. And then I'll buy. They have one. I'll buy them that have different sounds. You have the silent ones, which I don't use, but you have the ones with a lot of rattles, and the one that usually has 1 or 2 tungsten knockers in it. So it's just different sounds. So Carrie Cates, what did I cook? I smoked a turkey and I fried 2 turkeys today. I made a broccoli salad that I could eat under my diet that has homemade mayonnaise and all kinds of other cool stuff in it. What else did I make? Brussels sprouts with bacon and a Parmesan cream sauce. And that was it. Let's see. I can't afford an expensive kayak. What should I buy for $450? To be honest with you, Tanner, I would look for a used kayak for $450. Really. And it doesn't have to be a super one. Just get like one that sells brand new for like $700-800 for $450. It might be beat up a little bit, but that's what I would do. But the best thing is go, if you're doing that, go test it out first. Make sure it's not too wobbly and stuff like that. And get that, and then save your money and just upgrade, because you're going to eventually want to upgrade. Anything, in my opinion, and this is from my own experience, anything over or under $600, you're eventually going to want to upgrade it within the next 2 or 3 years, and that's kind of how I did it. And so, yeah. Anyway, Joshua Thibodeau, are you going to box with Hoover? Yes, I talked to him about it today on the phone. We're not dead set on a date yet, but we're going to change a few things, not with the boxing match, but we might do a couple of little one-on-one fishing tournaments to coincide with the boxing match. So, but yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm ready to get back to training. Are roboworms too active for deep water winter fish? I don't think so. I think they would be just fine. It's all a matter about how much action you put on them. What kind of popping frogs do I throw? I throw spro popping frogs, and I think that's the only ones I have. So the Field and Stream one, I haven't heard anything bad about them. The biggest thing is be careful to drag those cheap ones on the ground. You don't want to drag them too much because it's thinner plastic than, of course, the more expensive ones, and probably doesn't hold up nearly as well. I've seen a couple of guys welding and fixing holes in theirs over the last year or 2. Gene, I'm looking for a good flipping, pitching, and frogging rod under 7'3". Any suggestions? Flipping and pitching, I would stick with a 7'3". Any 7'3" heavy would be pretty good. My favorite 7'3" is actually a fake chrome from 13. It's the one I fish. Actually, it's my second favorite. My first favorite is their $180. My mind just went blank. Anyway, they're $180 rod. I don't want to waste too much time trying to think of what I can't remember. Let's see. Tactical Bassin just did a video for those. Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for helping Kyle out. Next new boat, I am waiting to hear back from Illumicraft. I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to try to figure out what they want to do in the future, and we'll see after the holidays, see what goes on. Recommendations for a cheap kayak, expensive life jacket. You know what? The best person to ask about a cheap kayak is Chad Hoover. He knows more about kayak design than anybody else I've ever met. And he knows more about those inexpensive ones because he used to own a retail store that sold kayaks. But as for an expensive life jacket, dude, the Chinook, the NRS Chinook, everybody that has one loves them. I love mine. The new ones coming out are even more comfortable, which is unbelievable. I messed when we did the photo shoot down in Louisiana. That's what we were shooting, was the new Chinook and a bunch of other stuff. So I got a chance to use one for about 7 days, and they're really nice. But yeah, I don't like the automatic inflate ones. I'm not a fan of risking my life using something that's mechanical. So Muse Black, thanks Scott. I'm such a dummy. What happens to fish down there without ice? I really don't know. Basically, bass like to move into what I call stale pockets, but that's not a term you'll find anywhere else. But basically, pockets without any current or deep in creek channels, and they just wait for the bait fish to move by. The bait fish are moving up and down the creek channels, are moving in and out of pockets, and they just hang out and wait for food to come to them. A lot of times they get on steep banks, steep sides of points, 45-degree banks, and they just move around. They still eat. They eat all winter long. They just don't eat as much, and it takes a little longer for things to digest. I've actually been able to see a bass they'll take a catch something like a bait fish or a crawfish and hold it alive in their mouth until they're ready to eat, maybe a day or two later. You know, and then they'll just swallow it. But that's why a lot of times you don't feel the bite, is because they're not really swallowing it down. They're just grabbing it and holding it in their mouth, and they're going to swallow it when they feel like eating. What's the best search bait in hydrilla? Oh, what do I use? I use a fluke a lot of times, or a weightless worm. I don't really search in hydrilla much. I usually search around the outside edges with a crankbait or a spinnerbait. So new Chinooks come out, should be in the spring or a little bit later. So yeah, they're pretty neat. A lot more. They've just changed the way it's, some of the things go on inside the life jacket to make it conform a little bit better to your body. So, can we buy your old boats? Yes, you can. I'll let you know as soon as you see that I have a new one. You contact Alumacraft and find out where my old one is, and they will point you to the right dealer. So, should I turn off my sonar stealthing up to a spot? Glenn Wallace, I do, and I would recommend you do it. And don't turn it off, just put it on standby is probably the best thing to do. That way you're not waiting for it to turn back on when you're ready to turn it back on. When would you recommend I use a jerk bait? I use one, well, I know a lot of people that use them year round, but I start using one when the water temperature gets below 50 degrees, and I'll use it all winter long, and I'll fish really, really slow. Have you ever fished Lay Lake? Yes, but it was in the dead of the winter time, and I didn't catch anything. So, you can jerkbait all year long? Yes, you can. Thanks, Sean. Walmart has pretty decent kayaks on rollback right now. It's a Sun Dolphin with an adjustable seat for $450. That's a good deal. That's not a bad one. I know a lot of people that get Sun Dolphins for their first kayaks. Ever try 6-gill fishing rods and reels? I have not. What's your favorite? What's your personal best bass? 12 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 ounces. I caught it out of a kayak in Alabama. So ever do any bow hunting? I grew up bow hunting. My dad would not let me hunt with a rifle till I was 14, so I saved up my money, bought a bow when I was 12, and shot my first 8 deer with a bow. It was my first 8, and then since then I just love it. Absolutely. I got a bow range in my backyard I built for me and my sons. My sons both shoot recurves, and I've killed probably 160 deer in my life, and at least a third of them were with a bow. So is a big Castmaster better than a flutter spoon straight down winter Oregon Lake? Yes, it is. Castmaster spoons are a lot better than a flutter spoon. Do I get a new boat every year? Actually, I've been getting one every other year. I'm supposed to get one every year, but it all depends. It depends on whether I like the next model, or it just depends on the deal with Alumacraft. So, ever fly fish? Yes, I grew up fly fishing. C3 Adkins asked, jerkbaiting is best in cold conditions, early spring and fall, winter. Watch Gene's video on jerkbaits. Yes, I made a really good wintertime jerkbait video. So there I go, sliding down the stupid chair again. How do you fish ponds where the cover has turned into slime? I've had to clean off my bottom baits after every cast. I don't fish bottom baits in slimy bottom lakes or ponds. I just don't. I fish a drop shot. I fish a weightless soft plastic, and then I'll fish a moving bait like a spinner bait, or I'll swim a Ned rig or something like that. And literally, I just keep things off the bottom. Shane says he's a Matthews fan. Yeah, man, I got an Outback as my newest bow. I traded for it a few years ago. I haven't shot it this year, though. I just haven't had time. Do you use Yum Dingers? I haven't used one in a while, but they're pretty good. Thoughts on Flugers? I haven't seen any of their new stuff. I used to have an old President about 15 years ago, but that's the last time I used Flugers. Let's see. True Hunters bow hunt. Actually, true hunters still hunt. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get into a hunting tangent here. I love to still hunt. How close can I get to a deer before I have a chance at taking it? And I have walked up on deer bedded. I mean, I used to be amazing walking through the woods. I've killed most of my big deer from the ground, mano y mano, and even my 151 inch I shot at 30 yards and I was sitting on the ground. You know, I've stalked deer, and this is in Georgia where your average shot is 40 yards, and with a bow your average shot is 20 yards, and so it just, I love it. You know, it's just one of those things. That's true hunting to me. If I need to shoot meat and put them in the freezer, I'm gonna get in a tree. If I'm not, I'm gonna stay on the ground. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna be stealthy. I'm gonna travel 100 yards in 2 hours. I'm just gonna, you know, move with the wind. If the wind direction changes, I change the direction I'm walking, that kind of stuff. And I just love to do that. Man, I was good. Anyway, I probably forgot more about hunting than most people ever knew. Let's see. Where do bass go during the winter? In rivers. They usually get out of the current. I'm talking largemouth bass. I don't know about smallmouth. Smallmouth love current a little bit more. They can handle cold water a little bit better. But a lot of times bass will find their way into sloughs and backwater areas and just get out of the current and try to hang out in the warmest water they can find. So, does braid work well with spinning reels? Yes. I have 20-pound braid on every single spinning reel that I own but one, and that's because I ran out of 20-pound braid and I had to put fluorocarbon on it. So, what's the best deal you saw on Tack Warehouse with this Black Friday sale? I have not looked, man. I've been cooking all day and getting ready for our second Thanksgiving dinner that we had tonight. So I don't know. I do most of my shopping on Amazon. Hey, sir, in Oregon, great channel. That's awesome, man. I used to live in Grants Pass. Love Grants Pass. So, that was weird. Siri started working all of a sudden on my phone. Have I caught 2 bass on one lure? Only once. I did it on a topwater lure when I was fishing on Clark's Hill. Totally agree. I've stalked and killed all my deer and elk with a bow. Man, friggin', I'd never elk hunted, and I've always wanted to. I just haven't had a chance. That'd be awesome. What 20-pound braid? I like Seagar Smackdown is what I use. And they're actually coming out with a high vis braid, which is kind of a bright green color, really. It's supposed to be coming out this next year, and it is that's what I'll start putting on my spinning rods because I love high vis braid on my spinning rods because I'm usually finesse fishing with them. So, see, when should I use a spinning reel? When you're using a spinning rod. No, I'm kidding, Josh. I was just ragging on you. But yeah, use a spinning reel on your spinning rods when you're finesse fishing, throwing light tackle and light line is when I use spinning stuff. So, should I buy a reel without feeling it? That's tough to do, but on this day and age, you can do that because if you don't like it, a lot of times you can send it back, especially Tackle Warehouse. So. Yeah, bucket list is a bull elk. That's awesome. How often do you use Yum baits like dingers? Not very often anymore. I don't even know if I have anymore. I'd have to look in my box. I have like 2 or 3 drawers of soft plastics that are all like 20 years old, They were way back when I started fishing. I'm afraid to get rid of them because I might need them one day. It's not like a hoarder issue, but yeah, I collect soft plastics for some stupid reason. Please make a hunting video. Probably not. At least not this year. I haven't hunted at all this year. So we did have 12 deer in the yard today, including one little 4-point when I pulled in after dinner. But yeah, I live out here in the country. I actually live in the middle of the largest wildlife management area in the state of Georgia. Best lure to match the hatch when bluegill are the forage. Ooh, there's so many of them. I don't think there's a best one. It just depends on the action. I love to flip a beaver bait when they're eating little baby bluegill in the grass. Is typically what I do. I get a green pumpkin beaver bait, dip the tail of it in chartreuse, maybe put a little blue on it, but you don't have to, and just flip them. So, let's see. Braid on a spinning reel should be state law. Never throws loops. I agree. And you know what's funny? It took a year and a half for a buddy of mine to convince me of that, and it really did. I was a fluorocarbon on spinning reel guy, and I just dealt with the twists. How long did it take before you got yourself your first deer by stalking? Days, weeks, months, years? Years. Actually, I shot my very first deer with a bow. I shot it at 15 yards, and I was hiding behind a clump of grass. I was literally in my brother-in-law's yard almost. His kids were like 200 yards away playing on the trampoline when I shot my first deer with a bow. I was 15, or no, I was 12 years old. And when I was 15 years old, I shot my first buck. And I think I was on the ground then too. But to get really good at stalking them and walking in the woods and being really successful, it probably took me 3 years of just spending the whole time in the woods. And that's what I did. Instead of getting in trouble as a teenager, I was in the woods and on the water. So, Gene, best joke you have heard while fishing? I don't know, man. I have no clue. I usually fish by myself, so I'd have to tell myself a joke. Would you ever go to El Salto, Mexico to catch some monsters? Probably not El Salto. I want to go to Bacharach. Bacharach is where they're catching big ones, giant ones right now. I've had 2 friends go, actually 3 friends go in the last 4 weeks down to Bacharach, and they are flat killing them. And it's a $4,000 to $5,000 trip, and I ain't got that in the budget. So, do you use a leader with jerk baits, or do you just use straight mono or fluoro? I use straight fluorocarbon usually. Let's see, I use braid to avoid nests with a backlash, and I agree with that too. But I love straight fluorocarbon when I'm doing it because I feel like I can get a little bit deeper with them. Is what it feels like. So, ever fished South Umpqua smallies? I haven't fished for smallies. I fished. What did I do? I fished Umpqua for trout and steelhead. But man, that was 95. That was 1995 is back when I was there. Gene, you ever throw crankbaits on braid? I try not to. I usually put a leader on there if I've got braid on the reel, but typically I throw straight fluorocarbon. Mainly because I don't like the braid to get hung. When you throw a crankbait and it starts to spin in the air, a lot of times that braid will get hung in the hooks. It just drives me nuts. So, any steelhead videos? I don't have any right now. I did almost have one for you when I was up in Wisconsin. I hooked into the biggest steelhead I've ever seen in my life. It jumped once. I was fly fishing. It broke off, and then it jumped 3 more times just to shoot me the bird. But it was huge. I mean, I can't even imagine how much that sucker weighed, but literally from top to bottom, he was probably 15 inches from his back to his belly. Giant steelhead. And the guy that had rigged up the rod had put too light of a leader on there, and it was cheap fluorocarbon. So, oh well. How did fishing that grass go last weekend? Any stupid rig tube action? Nope. Sure didn't get into it. 6 Cents makes incredible bluegill pattern crankbaits. Yes, they do. What's the poster behind you? Matter of fact, the guy who painted this poster was on here earlier. John, if you're on here, say hi. It's actually a piece of plywood that he painted with my ugly mug on there. I think that's the coolest thing. And yes, it's crooked on purpose. And then back there, I have my silver play button for having 100,000 subscribers. I'm about to hit 300,000. Isn't that awesome? That right there is a special needs kid that's from South Carolina. He's my #1 fan. And then I've got the can't fix stupid sign that I leave on my desk for my kids. But my favorite lure in the wintertime is probably a blade bait, or they used to call them gay blades, but I don't think that's politically correct anymore. But yeah, a blade bait is probably my favorite one. So, am I ready for Georgia versus Georgia Tech tomorrow? Yes. If Georgia loses, I'm probably going to end up being an Alabama fan the rest of the year. They better not lose. I mean, gosh almighty, they better not lose. You ever purposely target pike? If so, what's your go-to lure? My go-to lure is a topwater frog for pike, and I put on a steel leader in front of them. But yeah, when I'm up in Wisconsin or La Crosse, Wisconsin, dude, that's I will go back in the backwaters and try to catch some monster pike on a frog. They tear your frog up, but man, it's a lot of fun. Favorite leader knot and why? My favorite leader knot for braid to fluorocarbon leader is an FG knot. I've got a video about it, and then it links to an even better video about it. But it is the smallest, most trouble-free knot that I have found. It is not the easiest to tie. When I explain it, it's on a level of 1 to 10. It's a 9. So it's one of those you got to sit down in the living room and practice and practice and practice until you get it. But once you get it, you tie it once and it lasts all day long. It doesn't beat up. It doesn't fail unless you tie it wrong. And so that's the biggest thing. Love the FG knot, and it's super strong. It is the strongest braid to fluoro knot there is. So what lure would you go swimming for? I used to have a little lipless crankbait, and it fell off the back of my kayak, and I lost it along with an entire tackle box and about $1,000 worth of tackle. But anyway, a little lipless crankbait is the one, and it was $1.99. Caught 1,000 fish on that, I bet. Had no paint left on it. It's an old Strike King diamond shad. Other than that, I don't have any that I would die for. Every time I get on here, somebody lets you know that the painting is crooked. Yep, sure do. Do you? No, you could never be an Alabama fan. You're probably right. Oh man, let's see. At your desk, do you prep all your reels? I do. I got my reel cleaning box that basically stays right here on the floor next to my desk. My office is a disaster right now because we've been working on getting organized, but I have my reel cleaning kit sitting right here in a box right next to my desk, and I spend a lot of time on my desk working on my reels. Do you ever go Black Friday shopping? No, not just no, but heck no. No, and no. I would kill somebody. Road rage would be like the worst. No. I hate Black Friday. I do it all online. So, let's see. Have you ever taken apart a spinning reel then couldn't put it back together? I just did that and had to send it in. Yeah, I don't do spinning reels. I don't take them apart. That's they're just so hard to get back together. Yeah, I got a couple buddies who work on reels, and we call that, when you send them in after that, we call it we say they got sent a bag of reels. So, or a bag of reel. Come to the dark side, Roll Tide. Thanks, Kathy. I appreciate it. Would you still be fishing if you didn't have YouTube? Yes. Or did you start fishing full time a long time ago? I started fishing a long time ago. It wasn't full time. The biggest thing, if you ever want to know if somebody really, really loves what they're doing, ask them this question. If tomorrow you lost your job, or tomorrow you no longer had an income doing this, what would you do? And if they say, I'd go fishing, they love fishing. If they say, I'd start another business or whatever, they don't love fishing, they're in it for the money. And I know a lot of YouTubers like that. So, you ever do any surf fishing for striped bass in the Northeast? No, I have not. If we're going to do this for about 2 more minutes, I just realized I've been doing this an hour. It's been a lot of fun. If you could not fish for 3 months, what would you do to help you become a better angler? I practice casting, the biggest thing. And you know what? No matter if you have a long time till you can't fish. Practicing casting every chance you get will make it to where you will catch more fish. Accurate casts are more important than anything, and so that's what I used to do all the time. I do it in the barracks and in the army. I do all kind. I mean, just set up a little target in the room and practice flipping and pitching into that. You know, and that's the hardest thing. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, man. If it's about to get cold and your season's about to end, yeah, just get out there and practice. Let's see. You ever do any? I already read that one. Let's see. I never go back Black Friday shopping because it's hunting season. It's a law in my house. What's the best way not to get a bird's nest on a bait caster? Adjust it properly. Go search my videos for bait caster, and my newest one and the one before that, I think, are the ones that I covered that pretty good. That's another video that I'm going to do in this spring, is how to set up a bait caster, because a lot of things have changed since I did that one years and years ago. But anyway, so go to my website. Our Black Friday sale is you get a $50 gift card for $40 on Flukemastr.com. Register on the website. Just set up a profile. It don't cost you nothing. If you live in Atlanta, go to Westbrook Supply Company. Tomorrow is their Black Friday sale from 7 in the morning till 10 in the morning till 7 at night. It's 10 to 20% off of everything, including kayaks. What else? Check out the Angler app. Go ahead and download it. Play around with it. Tell me what you think about it this next time. We'll discuss that one on the next Friday Night Live as much as we can. And then there was one other thing. Oh, and if you own a Bonafide, be sure to register your kayak on Bonafide.com. So thanks, guys. Thanks for following along with me. Thanks for putting up with me. Sorry if I didn't get to everybody's questions. You guys are awesome. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Take it easy. See ya.